Joining us now is Gerard Baltrusaitis. He is the JVS Human Services career counselor with us today on the MegaCast, talking about the road ahead, the resignation economy, and explanation that will be live streamed on November 30th at 10 a.m. on the JVS Human Services Facebook page. Gerard, thank you for being with us today.
Tyler, thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Appreciate having you on. So tell us a little bit about this upcoming live streaming event on November 30th. It begins at 10 a.m. And it's all about resignation in today's workforce and economy. Tell us a little bit about what we'll learn on that live stream.
What we'll be doing is looking at generally what's going on in the economy. It has quite a few people perplexed. And we'll look at, again, the activities of what the economy is going through, and then look at it as far as how it relates to you. More specifically, what you can do as far as an action plan, how you can react to this, how it may apply to you, and again, what actions you can take.
And then in terms of people that may be considering resignation at this moment in time, what are some considerations that they should be making before they submit their courtesy 2 weeks or whatever the period may be that they may be required to or not required to submit to their current employer?
Well, there's an expression, plan your work and work your plan. I guess that's perfectly applicable here. No one should just go out and have a bad day at work and say, hey, I resign and try to move forward from there. It's been done. It's not the best and optimal approach. But what you should be considering right now is, where are you in your life and in your career? Are you satisfied with what you're doing? Are you satisfied with your employer or the specific career track you're on? Evaluate that, speak to others, and then look at, if you were to quit, if you were to resign, what would be your next steps?
We're joined by Gerard Baltrusaitis. He is a JVS Human Services career counselor joining us on the MegaCast. And then as you're building that plan, should you be consulting with a career counselor like yourself or someone else on your team over there at JVS Human Services? And what are some of those key questions that you should be asking of a career counselor in that consultation?
Sure. We do have career counseling services available here, as well as what we call ES, employee support services. That's a shorter version of career counseling. Again, to make a plug to other resources, it sounds like you're broadcasting throughout the state. There are the Michigan Work Centers that offer the career counseling services as well. And what you should be asking at these meetings are, what resources are available. Sometimes there are funding or money available for training, retraining opportunities. That's something to consider, as well as different career paths. What's recommended? Maybe you've given some thoughts to a certain career path or moving forward with employment in a direction. You can bounce that off these career counselors and see whether it might be something that has a future, so to speak, or that you might be skilled at. Some of the questions you might want to ask yourself, one is what I call the 3 Ps. That's purpose, passion, and proficiencies. You can look at, evaluate your current career, your current life, and see if you're satisfied. And if not, a direction, a way to find a direction is to evaluate, what do you enjoy doing? What are you good at doing? And is there a market out there for a combination of these two? And that can sometimes get you a little bit closer to a career path that would be more fulfilling.
We're joined by Gerard Baltrusaitis. He is a JVS Human Services career counselor with us today on the MegaCast. We're talking all about resignation, both how it affects you if you are considering resignation and what you should be considering, as well as how it affects the economy as well. JVS Human Services will have a live stream a week from today, November 30th at 10 a.m. on the JVS Human Services Facebook page called The Road Ahead, the Resignation Economy, and Explanations. Let's talk a little bit now, Gerard, about the impact of resignations on the current state of our economy. What are some of the more common reasons that we're seeing of late why people are leaving their jobs?
Basically, I would say for the most part, it's a combination, but for the most part, it's a situation where individuals have said they've had enough. You can look at the lower end tier as far as employment is concerned in salaries, and those are individuals that feel that they've been kind of left out during this COVID experience, or they've been, for lack of a better term, used, whereas their employers didn't appreciate the services they provide and being on the front lines, all the way on up to mid-level or C-suite people that are in a situation where they're working and they're supposedly working flexibly, but they're sitting there at 60, 70, maybe even up to 80 hours a week, and they're saying there's a little bit more to this than the stress and the paycheck. I think what we'll do in reflecting back 5 or 10 years from now to this period, we'll see that this period of COVID provided a great pause in life for individuals, provided a situation where individuals reevaluated their life, where they're at, their careers, and what it means to them. And as a result, a lot of people have said, wait, there's more to life than just working, and that's a reason why we have so many individuals that are stepping back. Number I have is in August alone, 4.3 million people quit their jobs. Right now, I think I heard something like there were up to 7 million job seekers, but over 11 million employment opportunities. It's the first time in the history that they've had this recorded that this has happened. And again, I believe it's a scenario where individuals are finally coming to grips with the fact that there is something beyond work, and that maybe I'm not going to make as much money, or it may not be the career ladder, but I need to fulfill my life, and as a result, I'm going to find something that's more suitable, more enjoyable for me.
We're joined by Gerard Baltrusaitis. He is a JVS Human Services career counselor, joining us today on the MegaCast. Their virtual live streaming seminar called The Road Ahead, The Resignation, Economy and Explanation will be happening at 10 a.m. next week, Tuesday, November 30th. So you can learn more about the resignation, the state of resignations in our current economy, why they've become more common, how they are actually working out that may be different than pre-pandemic or earlier on in the pandemic, as well as considerations that you should be taking into account if you are considering resigning. On the employer front, Gerard, because we do have a mass of people that are continuing to resign from their jobs, and there are plenty of open jobs, so they have options to go to. What should companies be considering at this moment in time to try to prevent resignations from an environmental standpoint, or from an incentive standpoint, or beyond?
Tyler, great question. Because I've spoke to several employers over the last several months, and they're a little bit frustrated. They've never seen a situation where they've had job openings and they raise salary opportunities and they still cannot find employers or individuals to step into those situations. So what I would recommend to them, and again, this is a subjective standpoint, I'm not an employer, so it's easy for me to say, but to the best of my understanding, what employers should be looking at is providing a higher quality workplace. From the standpoint, we have records, we have data and information from the Gallup poll people. They did a lot of studies about 10, 20 years ago, and came out with information that more specifically leaned on the fact that productive employment the most productive employers were individuals that had high quality workplaces. More specifically, there's something that's known in HR, human resource areas, as well as, again, some of the top companies, and they call this term employee engagement. And what they found is that the higher the employee engagement, the higher the performance and productivity in the workplace. And there's something out there that you can look at, and it's called the Q12 that the Gallup people developed. And this is a simple elementary test that they facilitate that measures the level of engagement that individuals have in an organization. And there's very simple questions. Questions such as, do you have a friend at work? Do you have the tools that you need to perform your job? Does your manager check with you on a weekly basis? Do you feel supported? Simple questions like that. And by managing these components, providing a workplace that has greater engagement or quality of work life, it's a situation where it may cost a little bit of money in upfront, but for the most part, it'll pay great dividends as far as performance and productivity in the long run. So my recommendation, again, to employers is to start getting the word out that you're an employer that cares about your people. You're an employer that individuals would be enjoy working for, and that I think would help. I'm not saying it'll alleviate everything, but would help to bring in more employees of a quality basis.
We're joined by Gerard Baltrusaitis. He is a JVS Human Services career counselor joining us on the MegaCast, talking all about resignations. And so, Gerard, as we continue through this and as we're evaluating the state of resignations in our current economy, what are some common areas or common career fields right now that are experiencing some of this mass of resignations?
Good question. If you don't mind me, I've got a note or two. Okay. They said that switching for 20% of workers surveyed quit their jobs due to they're pursuing their past and passion. Says 25% of hospitality workers said they wouldn't want to work in the industry again. 20% of all workers in the pandemic caused them to change their roles. 13% of workers quit because their jobs didn't provide work-life balance. The areas where we're seeing probably, again, the highest amount of people resigning would, for the most part, be front-facing positions. Individuals in hospitality, individuals in customer service, individuals in hotel and restaurant, those that are front-facing as far as right up front with the people, with the customer. And again, a lot of the rationale behind that is that those are traditionally lower paying jobs, number one, and especially through this period of COVID, they not only are risking, to just coin that phrase, risking their lives from this standpoint of the disease itself, or COVID itself, but also a situation where they seem to be taking more frustration, or individuals are more frustrated, and as a result, they're not treating people on the front lines as well. So they're getting hit from both ends. They're jeopardizing their life and those of their family members by catching COVID, and at the same time you have the customers who are not treating people as well, and that's the primary thrust of the resignation. Although, again, as I mentioned, there are people at mid-level and so on that are also resigning because they're saying the amount of hours I'm working, it's not worth it either.
We're joined by Gerard Baltrusaitis. He is a JVS Human Services career counselor joining us on the MegaCast. And so in terms of what you and your team of other career counselors over at JVS Human Services do, what kind of services do you provide that may be helpful to someone that's considering a career change at this time?
Once again, we provide career counseling and employment services. The career counseling is something that you can sign up for. It's it's provided on a sliding scale fee. And the counseling is pretty in depth. I think it's a total of 8 to 10 sessions over a 4 to 5 week period, but it's very thorough from the standpoint. You meet with a master's level individual that facilitates assessments, reviews your resume, looks at your job search process, helps you determine a career path, and that's pretty much a comprehensive, again, package and service that we provide. At a different level, some individuals, not everybody needs to do a remake, so to speak. We have employment services where you can speak to an individual once or twice and just share some of your concerns. They can evaluate your resume, provide a few suggestions regarding that, as well as some suggestions and tips regarding maybe interviewing or networking. So we do provide those services. And then coming in January, we're slating, it's not publicized yet, but we'll be offering a weekly workshop or a group for people that are experiencing the resignation economy, either those that are looking to transition and resign and try something else, or as well as those individuals that have already resigned and are looking for some assistance and a foot up and to understand their next steps.
Well, Gerard, thank you very much for joining us and telling us more about the state of resignations in our current economy, why they're happening, who is participating, and what companies can do to create a better environment in their offices in order to retain their employees. Thank you very much.
Tyler, thank you.